I feel like the polka dot door. Did you ever see the polka dot door?
Probably, but I don't remember things like quite
the
like
polka dot door. The polka dot door. We'll see you soon from the polka dot door. No, okay.
Probably.
Just me. All right. Well, there's someone watching here. Hey, it's Jen. Jen totally.
And Felicia.
And Felicia. I don't. Maybe Felicia knows the polka dot door. Jen's too young. I feel like she's a youngin'. There's no way that she would know about the polka dot door. There's no stinking way. Hey, sup, Witcha? What's up on Twitter? Glad that you're here on Twitter. What are you doing? Glad that you guys are here on Facebook. Because everyone's staying safe. We've got, if you're watching with us in the States, you know we've got that hurricane going on that's going through North Carolina right now. Is that where it's going through?
It's kind of
Help me out, guys.
Jen, it's kind of more towards Jen in Virginia.
In Virginia, yikes!
Well, there were tornadoes in Virginia.
Yikes! We don't like no tornado. Waiting for everyone to get on here, you guys. So we're just kind of taking our times. Everyone doing good? Good. We're going to talk about Halloween today. So I have my elf ears on. These are the wrong color elf ears. Yeah. So we have a manufacturer.
It's here.
It's here. Oh, stay safe, guys. Like, I won't joke about that one. Stay safe.
We used to live like where tornadoes frequented, and so we lived that life all the time.
Yes, please stay safe. Today we're talking about Halloween, so I've got my Halloween ears on because we got a manufacturer that's making some elf ears for us, and they made a sample in the wrong color. So these are my wrong color elf ears. Show them your costume. Your emoji costume. Wow! Isn't that cool? Show Instagram or YouTube.
No way. Felicia stood in ankle-deep water in her basement this morning wrapping Christmas presents.
No.
So, like, was that like embracing the suck? Like, this really sucks, so I'm going to try and be happy by drinking Christmas presents? She
said she was oddly grateful the whole time because she still has a basement. That's a good way to look at it. That's a very good way to look at it. Hey, everyone out on Twitter. What's everyone on Twitter doing? Give me some comments, Twitter folk. I would love to get some. So,
Felicia, is it a finished basement or a not finished basement? Because the water being ankle deep and that makes a difference.
Hey Jen, I think you have.
I think you're on transfiguring adoption.
You have to go into your settings and turn off. Jen's one of our like big volunteer people for transfiguring adoption. I think you still have your settings on as acting as transfiguring adoption because we don't see Jen Ellers is commenting. We see that transfiguring adoption is talking about tornadoes. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, Margie, kick us off. Get us started. Get the show on the road.
So we are Margie Fink and...
I am Darren Fink.
Transfiguring Adoption.
Keep going.
Okay. Felicia said, I needed to relocate them before they are damaged, so I figured I'd wrap them before I brought them up, and it's semi-finished. It's more of the laundry room and where we hide things from the children.
All right, get started here, kid.
I did. We're transfiguring adoption.
Small print.
We're not doctors or lawyers.
Oh, you joke, but one of these days, there's someone out there watching us that they're going to try. Please don't sue us. We're just trying to help encourage you and just make a better way for foster and adoptive parents to get on the journey. So, today we're going to talk about Halloween and how you deal with different issues or different things with Halloween coming up because it is September if you're watching this live. If you're not, it's September. We're thinking Halloween. Everyone's thinking candy. Everyone's thinking going trick-or-treating, carving pumpkins, doing Halloween parties. And so what do you do? And what we want to kick things off with while everyone's still kind of joining in is what is your all-time dislike candy? Like what candy do you hate? What is that candy that you will never, ever, ever let darken your mouth again? And while you're thinking about that, if everyone wouldn't mind giving a share out on their social media and letting everyone know that you're watching, that would help us a lot to get a better conversation going. So don't forget to share at some point during this beginning here and let people know that you're talking with us. But what is your all-time favorite candy? Felicia says Mary Jane's. Are those a candy?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
Yes.
Really?
Wait, you just said favorite.
Oh, no, all-time dislike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dislike. What is your dislike?
I'm not a fan of Mary Jane's either. I'm with you, Felicia.
I'm trying to think. What's yours? Do you know? Miss Margie. She's trying to share the conversation over here. She can only do one thing at a time. You know, it's really funny.
Allison.
Who Allison?
Allison Douglas.
Allison Douglas is on here? I love it when
star.
Allison Douglas is on here. She's like the best.
So, Allison,
I know her.
What's your absolute least favorite candy? We're talking about least favorite Halloween candies.
Yes. Least favorite Halloween candies, guys. So far we have Mary Jane's. You know, a lot of people don't like those like marshmallow peanut ones, the orange peanuts.
I was kind of thinking that too.
I kind of like them.
They're like borderline.
Do you know what though? I enjoy cardboard. Like I enjoy breakfast cereals that taste like cardboard. Like, so I have an odd palate, so I'm okay with those. Like, bring them on. Like all-time dislike. Like if your kids bring them in the house, you're like, you're not gonna sleep here tonight with that candy in this house.
Okay, I don't like peanuts. So like anything that's like heavy on the peanuts.
Whoa! Allison on Facebook dissing Twizzlers. She says Twizzlers.
She says Twizzlers are gross. Okay, and Jen says candy corn are gross. Okay, so I was just gonna say candy corn too. I'm like kind of borderline on candy corn. Candy corn and those marshmallow peanut thingies. Yeah.
Really? This is so interesting. I didn't know that. I bet you could find out. Wonder if you could psychologically find out a lot about people because of their favorite candy or their not favorite candy.
Allison says the worst. You know, so Twizzlers, funny, like I didn't used to like Twizzlers either. And they're not my favorite, but we did have a foster child last year that was like favorite. And so
yeah, that's true. That was interesting. Just so you guys,
Twizzlers as like a normal.
Once again, I'll just say real quick while we're getting started here and everyone's making their way into the room, so to speak. If you guys wouldn't mind sharing on your social media that you are watching, so we can get more people watching and hanging out with us. We are going to be. Everyone asked us to talk about Halloween last week. And we don't know if we'll get to, like, there's so many topics you could talk about with Halloween, so I'm not sure if we'll get to everything, but we're going to try to talk about some stuff. We thought we might talk about carving pumpkins, because someone asked about carving pumpkins, especially if you have a kid that's a self-harmer. Was there another thing that we were going to talk? I mean, this is your time, you guys, so I know everyone wanted to talk about Halloween. So ask your questions, and as a group, we will tackle them. But if there's something specifically you want to tackle, like you have to comment anytime. And so we'll turn our attention toward that. Otherwise, we're going to talk about carving pumpkins. So I'm going to give you a little while for the lag to catch up. And we all...
Hey, Tommy.
Is Tommy on here?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tommy. Glad that you're here. Long time no see. Yeah, so anyways, we're going to talk about carving pumpkins, because that's something that people were asking about. And obviously we need to get to trick-or-treating at some point, right? I mean, that's like the staple, like, hey, this is what we do during Halloween. We go trick-or-treating, or some people go trunk-or-treating. But we need to cover that at some point. So did you have anything that you want to kick off with carving pumpkins? Did anyone, I know that someone asked about, like, if you have a kiddo that's a self-harmer, what do you do with the pumpkin carving? Because that's a big thing for some families. Like, everyone sits around the table, and who does that? Do any of you guys, do you carve pumpkins at Halloween? Is that a thing? Like, maybe it's not even a thing. I don't know.
We've always carved pumpkins, generally. Like, every once in a while we've kind of not gotten around to it. But, like, last year we had a house full of teens and upper elementary kiddos. And we kind of had some concerns about giving them sharp objects. So we just kind of had an across the board, we gave everybody Sharpies, and they decorated the pumpkin the way they wanted it cut, and then we cut the pumpkins. So it was only the adults with the sharp objects.
And that
but
was...
they did pitch in, like they all had spoons and did the digging out part, kind of gutting their pumpkin.
And like explain to them the age range too that we had, because we had some teens that were in the house, and they really didn't want to do it. Like, I don't think, as far as I'm remembering, they really didn't want to decorate pumpkins.
Well, I think like let's see, so we had like 9 to 17 last year in the house, and
Allison says 3 out of 4 of her kids carve pumpkins. One smashes his pumpkin. Hey,
that's
as
fun.
an artist,
and I think
I will have to
like,
say,
after Halloween, like they did their pumpkins last year, and then they got to take them up in the woods and smash them. Like after Halloween, they had fun with that. So Christina says the same thing. We used Sharpie to decorate them when we had a child who self-harmed. So did you do the Sharpie and then you cut them, or did you just decorate them? Because that's one of the things that we were looking at today too. It's just all, like, we were just perusing like on Pinterest and stuff. Like Jen Aller says, painting pumpkins can also be fun.
yeah.
We were on Pinterest and there were some crazy cool things that people were doing with pumpkins.
But
not
see,
just painting them, but like decorate them.
I think the problem is, you guys, I think is we get in too much of a rut. And we think, like when you're thinking about the self-harming or like different issues with kiddos, carving of pumpkins, I think we get stuck, I was gonna say we get cut up on the word carving. And so we're thinking about cutting something with a sharp object and taking away from the pumpkin. But like all these things that we saw on Pinterest and getting ready to talk with you guys, it's adding stuff. So there was one that was a mummy, and someone took gauze and they wrapped it up and then put 2 little googly eyes, and it was a mummy pumpkin. I mean, it was just really fun. Another one I saw was they rolled a pumpkin in glue and they covered it in glitter, and they said the best part is after you're done with Halloween, you can keep it out for Thanksgiving. But like, come on, little girls, stereotypically, they love glitter. It'll be everywhere forever, but it's only one time a year forever. Next Halloween, we'll be pulling it out still. But fun, right? Yeah. Another one that I saw was taking yarn and actually gluing around the pumpkin. And so like you take the strip and you're going a bit meticulous, but it looked cool because you go all the way up winding the pumpkin with the yarn. And the other thing that I thought about was, I was telling Margie, unless you got a kiddo that, like, I guess they use things as a shiv or something like that, as there's always like the fake pumpkins, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the fake pumpkins, and those you can keep, like they could even take those with them if they're a foster kiddo and you know they're going to be moving on to the next house, they could take that with them.
So Allison said painting the pumpkins can be super cute. Felicia says glitter is the devil. Okay, so funny story. When we lived in Illinois, so we ran a foster adoptive parent support group, and the kids kind of had their own little program while the adults had theirs. And one time, I don't know why, somehow the people doing childcare decided they were going to do something with glitter, and our daughter somehow managed to have the entire bottle of glitter on her head, and I swear it was still in her hair like a month later. Like,
I'm pretty sure we were borderline asked not to come back because like the whole children's area, like it took forever to clean up all that glitter. Glitter's not my friend.
Not like we personally were
asked not to. Like
the group,
like the group
where we were holding it. They're like, yeah, you guys, yeah, it was bad.
So what are some other ideas that you guys might have for decorating pumpkins? Or maybe there's some other ideas that you guys have for crafts, or what are different activities that you do around Halloween? Because that's what people were asking for when we were trying to wrap up last caregiver check-in, was ideas for, I guess, bonding and connecting with your kiddos, because they might have extra sensory needs, or they might be a self-harmer, or different things like that. Again, this is your time, so please let us know what you guys want to talk about, and ask your questions. I don't remember some of the questions, actually. Do you remember any of them? Like, I know about the self-harming, and I know people wanted to talk about trick-or-treating.
Like, mixed emotions and stuff like that. And
Which is weird because, okay, what are the top holidays? When you think of emotional holidays, what are your top 2 holidays that you think of for like being like as a kid, like something that you look forward to and it's really emotional? Like, I'm just curious. I'm waiting for the lag to catch up. It's like the suspense kills me every time I have to wait for the lag, right? You ask a question, you're like, they still haven't heard it yet. I know they have. Like, I can even see it on Facebook. Like, my expression, everything's not there yet. I'm like, come on, catch up, catch up. So, but what are the top holidays do you think have the most emotional impact on kids? Felicia says Halloween and Christmas. Really? She said Halloween. Wow. I'm curious why you said Halloween, because I totally was going to say, like, I don't know, like anything but Halloween. I just didn't think of Halloween as being like one of those. I totally would have said Christmas. Yeah, see, I would have said Christmas and Easter.
So Christina said they make going to pick out a pumpkin an event and picture opportunities also. And Allison said her kiddos love Halloween. And for those of you who don't know, Allison's husband, like, is amazing. He makes the most amazing costumes. So I can see how her kids would definitely love Halloween because, yeah. So Felicia said every placement we have had Halloween has been a huge deal because they've never participated in it before.
Oh, that's interesting to me. Okay, very cool. I know that our kids were always like, yeah, I guess that's true because when our kids were small, even now, they look forward to like, at least one of them is always like right away as Halloween ends, they're like, this is what I'm going to be next year. And then the next day, this is what I'm going to be. No, I'm going to be this now. No, I'm going to be this. No, I'm going to be this. And we're like, okay, it's a year away. Chill.
So Christina says, well, Halloween is special to us, but it is also adoption day for one of ours. That's like double whammy. And Felicia said, I had one child tell me that he didn't think that Halloween, Valentine's Day, or Easter were real holidays because he never participated in them in his home before. He thought they were just something for TV.
So okay, so for Halloween, do you think why would it be hard? Is it hard for foster kiddos or is it just fun?
I think so the pinned post on, pinned comment on Facebook is a blog, was it a year or 2 years ago? I think it's been a little while since. So he wrote 3 Halloween tips for foster families. And I think in that blog, you talked a little bit about some of the conflicting emotions because of just not being with birth family or some of the differences maybe between what happens in birth family home. Just any holiday or any special day in general can be very conflicting because you just have different traditions or you have that sadness of I'm not with my family. And maybe you can have some of that kind of feeling like you're betraying, like if you have fun, you're betraying your birth family. Because, you've got that, hey,
Danya.
Hey, Danya. So you have that kind of like, okay, if I'm having fun with my foster family, am I betraying my birth family?
Right.
Or just there are different things going on. And so you're sitting there thinking, as the child, I know my birth family is doing this and we're doing this. And it's different.
I like the idea of, Allison says, trick-or-treating has sometimes been hard because of the sensory overload of masks. Also, just scary stuff in general can be triggering. Yeah, so how do you guys deal with that? If things, because so I know for our kids, like, even just the dark is a scary thing. And then you have all those people going, like, depending on where you go, like, you have a lot of people around. I know some people go, like we sometimes in Tennessee we would stick to trunk or treating because it's just a little bit safer and stuff like that. And you get a whole haul right away. But yeah, like how do you keep your kids' sensory stuff under control when they're getting bumped into and they're in the dark and there's loud noise like machines. The machines. I didn't even think about that, but the machines that are all going.
So Felicia says, having a child who is impulsive and has sensory processing disorder out at night trick-or-treating is such an experience. I'm sensing a little bit of sarcasm. Christina, Halloween can be scary, and our kids were allowed to watch horror movies at way too young of an age so they can see these reminders at Halloween. We've had a lot of that happen with some of our kids and some of our foster kids too. Felicia, we did miniature trial runs, leaving Halloween, there was various trunk or treats and Halloween events that were short and contained in terms of locations. So we did practices leading up to our actual big trick or treat. Yeah, you know, that's one thing too, is a lot of times there's trunk or treats or fall festivals or different events that aren't necessarily on Halloween. Oh yeah, leading up to Halloween. We've done that before where, you know, it is kind of like a practice run, because you can go to an event like the weekend before Halloween or something, and the kids kind of learn what to expect. One of the things in general about holidays, and we talk about this in the pinned post, but also in all of our things that we do about holidays, is talking about expectations. So one of the things that can be really just a lot for our kids is if they're expecting things to happen one way and they don't happen that way. So just kind of helping them know what's going to happen, what it's going to look like. And then even talking about, so how are you going to, you know, are you going to pig out on the candy? Are you going to go all out? Are you going to, you know, have so many pieces and put the rest back? So they kind of know what's coming.
I think that's the most important, more important too for the teens, I find, because they might be expecting a lot more freedom from the night. And depending on where you're at in your foster care journey, you might not want everyone to go off on their own because of just trust levels. Mm-hmm. And it's good to start the night off knowing that, okay, we're all going to stay together tonight. That's what we're going to do. And if we can't stay together, we're going to stay together at home. So either we stay together going out trick-or-treating or we stay together at home. But either way, we're staying together. So yeah, what do you guys do we're talking about sensory issues is what this has evolved into, sensory issues during trick-or-treating. What do you do? Allison mentioned with all the masks in the dark and getting bumped into and different things like that. What do you do? And while everyone's thinking of answers, would you guys do us a big favor and would you share on your social media? A lot of people on Facebook, if you wouldn't mind sharing that you're talking with us, that helps us to be able to connect with more people and just have the conversation better, get more advice, get more suggestions.
So Allison says, we sometimes only went to 2 or 3 houses, but would stop and get a specific treat on the way home.
I love that.
Yeah, we learned early on that it was like...
What kind of treat?
You know, if you think about when we were kids, sometimes you'd go out for hours and you'd stay out and you just go to neighborhood after neighborhood. But we found with ours, we could hit up, you know, usually... There was a trunk or treat in Knoxville that we would go to that had hot dogs and hot chocolate and chips. And so it's kind of like get some protein, get some better food in, and then just we kind of see how things were going. And then if the kids were having a rough time, we'd just go ahead and head back home and hang out in the neighborhood.
So Felicia says that they trick or treat in a particular neighborhood that has friends and family in it so that they can take breaks. That's a good idea.
That's an awesome idea.
Annie says that last month I talked to my whole block of neighbors. We are doing a small sensory-friendly Halloween block party. There is a lot of kids with sensory issues on our block, so we want to do something easygoing but fun for them. Let me know how that goes. Like, seriously.
That's an awesome idea.
My email is Darren, DARREN, @transfiguringadoption.com. I would love to hear more about that and how that goes. Felicia says that they do special treats. So they do special treats. So they do like ice cream at the end of the night. See, I was thinking that too. When Allison said that, I was like, so there's a Sweet Frog yogurt place that you can like, you know, like one of those places where you like totally fill up the whole thing and you try to, like, if you're smart, like, it's like you're setting the brave and just, I want to eat people against the I got to figure this out and how to get as much in as I can for the least amount of cost places. So like, that's fun. Like, our family has fun at that, so that would be a fun treat for them, I
think. So Allison said, I want to move to Annie's neighborhood, and Felicia said yes.
Yes, so much fun. Like, I think that's good. I think it's good when you can get your neighbors involved. And how awesome is that when the neighbors think enough of your family to, I mean, it sounds like the whole neighborhood has this issue too, so that definitely helps. But how cool is it that if you can get a neighborhood to get in on that and just make an awesome, it takes a village, right? We always say that it takes a village to raise a child, and they're raising children. That's so cool.
So one thing too, if you have kiddos that have a hard time with sensory things and maybe they get overwhelmed and they have a hard time talking or saying trick or treat, there's on the pinned comment on Facebook, there's on the 3 Halloween tips for foster families. We created a little card that says something along the lines of, I have a difficult time saying trouble saying trick or treat, something like that, and just says thanks.
It says I'm working
on
it. It says I can't, something about like that I'm having trouble saying trick or treat, but I'm working on it. So it's for kids that either are nonverbal, or it's for kiddos that they're shy.
Well, and I know, like, we've got kids who aren't shy, but when they're in sensory overload, they kind of shut down and they don't talk. So they appear shy and they don't talk. So that can help them kind of go up to the door and to hand that rather than having to say trick or treat.
It gives them their voice back. That's why it's important, I think, because it allows them to, where adults have taken away their voice in the past, this still allows them, even though they're shy or something, to go up and like connect with another person in the neighborhood and say, hey, this is why I'm not talking to you, or why I'm appearing shy. And it's usually something that they can kind of, I mean, they might even have to ask, like, I think it's a win if they ask the foster mom or adoptive mom or dad, like, to say, like, can you give this to them? Like, and then they're not even the ones to give it out, but they're asking, because that's asking permission. And again, it's giving their voice back. It's all about relationship and bonding though.
Yeah, so feel free to print those out and use those. So Christina says, some of our nursing homes hand out candy. All residents give candy out, and it's not as scary. We also often do the free or reduced pancakes at IHOP on Halloween. Yeah, it's so fun when you find those, like, neat. IHOP is a big one that our family loves too. Like those neat deals that you can do on those fun days. Felicia says that was a huge thing last year, but he was so proud of himself by the end of the night when he could say trick or treat and thank you. We never made it. Don't run through people's lawn decorations level though. Baby steps, lol. Yes.
Okay. So I don't even know if our kids, one year, we were going to get pumpkins, and no, I'm not even going to show that story because I didn't ask permission. It's funny, but it's a little not funny. So, yeah. I'll censor myself there. I'm bad at censoring myself. I did good. I did good job.
Good job.
Yeah, good job. I'm wearing, like, it looks like, because yours are the wrong color. Oh my dear goodness! I don't know how to recover from that.
Yeah.
So what kind of snacks do you get, or what kind of treats do you go out for? I know the lag is fine. Like, we're getting the laugh icon. So what kind of treats, or what do you do for sensory overload in your neighborhoods?
So what are some ideas? Like Annie's neighborhood is doing a neighborhood block party with, kind of sensory friendly. What are some other ideas if your kids absolutely just cannot hack going out?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've had times where we've had 1 or 2 kiddos that stayed home for different reasons. But what are some ideas to make it fun if you can't go out?
Yeah, because I think that's the rough part, right? It's the rough part that, like, you want to give them a holiday and the experience that everyone else is having. But if they can't hack it, they can't hack it. And it's not their fault, usually.
Yeah, so with New Year's Eve, like, for years, we couldn't do, like, the staying up late, doing New Year's Eve. So we would watch New Year's Eve, like, somewhere several hours ahead and kind of do a celebration and then go to bed.
Right. Yeah, like, I think, well, it's kind of like the pumpkin thing, right? Like, we were talking about carving pumpkins, and so, yeah, last week someone asked about carving pumpkins, especially if you have a kiddo that wants to do self-harm. And so obviously you don't want pointy objects or anything like that. But so you just you have to think outside the box, or you have to do this and you have to talk with other people and get ideas, because as soon as I started looking on Pinterest, I'm like, additive. You add stuff. You don't take stuff away from the pumpkin. You add stuff to the pumpkin, and that solves the problem of pointy objects.
Okay, so lots of ideas. So Christina says, watch the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That is
yes,
major.
That's not even
family.
a question in my book. That it's not. Halloween never happened if the Great Pumpkin is not shown somewhere in the world. If ever it is canceled on TV or they burn all the DVDs, Halloween is canceled.
Allison says having a party at home with fun treats, and I think that's probably say not so scary movie. We even ordered pumpkin-shaped pizza from Papa Murphy's. Oh, that sounds so fun. I know we've done like the Valentine's ones from Papa Murphy's. I didn't know they did pumpkin ones. That's really fun.
Okay, well, something that we do too, like that you can go on our website and find too, is we have a recipe for pumpkin juice.
Yeah, pumpkin juice is really yummy.
Pumpkin juice is amazing.
Felicia says we stop and count candy if we are out and about. If the kid can't manage it, then we have a very animated display of handing out candy and goodies back home with my sister.
That's fun.
Felicia says we have the Great Pumpkin board game that we have to play every year.
What?
There's a board game?
What is this board game you talk of?
Oh, we need that.
Unless you can prove where one would get said board game, it isn't real. You're just playing with us.
Okay. Yeah. Every holiday that there's a Charlie Brown show for, we end up watching. So Denise says, growing up, we lived on a farm from town. And my dad would hang a sheet and make fishing poles and attach candy to it or do a scavenger hunt. I've always thought it would be great. It's so fun.
I love scavenger hunts. I think they're great. Like that's okay. Surviving amusement park 101. Like, you know this because I always want to make scavenger hunts, but they're a great way because they're a distraction. So you have a kid with sensory overload or something, they can look down at the paper. I mean, you still have the sound, but like it gives your eyes a break because you're focusing on the paper.
Okay, so what was the thing that we did with the candy that one year?
We did with the candy one year. I don't know. What did we do with the candy? We ate it.
No. So
just kidding. I guess we didn't.
No, remember, like, so you always come back with a ton of candy, and you try and go, what are we going to do with this? And so there was something we did after Christmas, or after Halloween, leading up to Thanksgiving. There was like little feathers, and so each day they had like a little clue on a feather that eventually made the turkey.
No. You had a turkey with a bunch of feathers, and then every day they pulled a feather off, and it had a clue to where the candy was hidden in the house that day.
Yes.
And they had to go throughout the house and find the candy. And then that was a way to like get the Halloween candy spread out, so you didn't have a sugar rush all in one. Although I am a fan of just.
But and when the feathers were gone, it was Thanksgiving. So it was like kind of like, they do the little calendars for Christmas, but it was kind of like the turkey leading up to Thanksgiving.
Yep, Felicia says that the Great Pumpkin board game exists.
She doesn't remember where she got it.
She doesn't know where she got it, so in my head, it never happened. That's a great idea, you guys. I like the idea, too. I don't know who said it, because I was trying to get some other commenting stuff done. But I like the idea of doing, like, a home party. Mm-hmm. Just because I think that can be great family bonding, too.
Mm-hmm. And if you're in an area where there's lots of kids going around, some kids just love handing out candy too.
Yeah,
so they can dress up and then interact that way.
I think so. How, like, I don't even know how I'm going to say this question, because it's like a feeling or something I have in my head. Okay, I'm just going to talk it out. So, like, we've had kids where they feel like they're like, you have to put boundaries in place, but they feel like they're missing out on something because you're having to put the boundary in place. Like, for example, you tell your teens, hey, we're all going to stick together. Can we go with the other teens in the neighborhood? Well, let's say that, like there have been things leading up to this point that that your teens can't handle going off on their own with no adult with other teens. So it has to be a no. Like, how do you but you have, like, you spent all this time, like, thinking of, like, we're going to go to this place, we're going to have fun here, we're going to do, like, how do you set it up so that your child, I guess, doesn't sabotage the night and that they don't feel like they're missing out?
So Logan says the board game is on Amazon.
Logan, I love that you checked it. Hey, Zan, glad to have you.
Felicia says we do that the week before for the kids' classmates. One of their favorite things is making their own piñatas with paper mache leading up to the party.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. I don't think I could do that. I think that sounds like a lot of energy for me. And I'm artsy. Allison said she's taken her kiddos to the movies on Halloween night. We get popcorn, soda, and candy. Enjoy a much more contained evening. I like that. This is why I talk to Allison, like, for ideas. Allison, can we just have you take over the check-in right now?
Hey, Laura.
Oh, I want to say hey, Laura. Hi, Laura.
Say hey, Laura.
So, again, if you're just joining in with us, last week, people at the end of the check-in were asking us if we could talk about Halloween. Specifically, people wanted to know about carving pumpkins when you have a self-harmer.
We talked some about sensory
issues, and also just trick-or-treating in general and what you can do to make the night more memorable and more exciting for your kids, even though they might have sensory issues or they just have different issues going on. So, what do you do? I like that Allison said, too, that, like, I mean, I think that is, I mean, why do you have to go out trick-or-treating? There is nothing in anything that says that you have, but I think, but you know, but it's like the carving the pumpkin, like we get stuck in our head that you have to have the knife, you have to cut out the stinking guts, and you have to put a candle in the pumpkin. That's what Halloween is. You have to go out trick-or-treating. But like no one said like this is how the holidays run. So like you're coming up with your own norm, right? Like I love all these ideas. They're great because they're just every bit viable and great solutions as traditions, right? And they become family traditions. Mm-hmm. Traditions are born. Bing. With a bing. I love it.
Oh, that's a super good idea. So Allison says hiring a college student to be a buddy for your teens would be safe and way cooler than having mom and dad hanging around.
And let me tell you, as helping to run a nonprofit with a low budget, college students are very amazing people, and it's because they have energy, they listen for the most part, and the reason that they listen is because they need credit hours. And I don't know how that works if you could say that this is a great experience for your child psychology degree. I don't know.
Social workers.
Social workers, like, hey, do you want to go around with my family trick-or-treating and see?
I think it's something you talk about as like you get a group of parents together and go,
so
we have a bunch of teams. Let's hit up some college students who need volunteer hours.
Yeah, volunteer hours. It's all about the volunteer currency. That's why it's fun. But how great would that be if you could? I wonder how hard it would be to find other parents in your area and see if you could set up like a trick-or-treating time where you could do something contained.
Okay, so this is a big question.
Uh-oh.
So does anybody have cutoffs with their kids about the age at which they must stop trick-or-treating? Because I know when I was a kid, it was a huge thing. Like the city said, you know, at 12, it must stop. And like people would get real uppity. But I feel like sometimes like our kids have special needs. Sometimes they missed out on so many years of enjoying trick-or-treating. And sometimes being trick-or-treating is safer than some of the other options that they could be. So kind of what are everybody's thoughts on like, where is that cutoff, or what do you do if you live in an area where people are very uppity about like, you can't, you know, as a teen, go trick-or-treating? Okay,
so let me tell you two things. I'll tell you my viewpoint, and then I'll tell you what we see as our family, what we do. And so here, when I was growing up, it was a rite of passage to be able to like, and I mean like neighborhood-wide, like other kids' houses too. It was like a rite of passage to kind of not stop the fun, but stop trick-or-treating, so that you were like taking on like I'm handing out the candy part, or I'm taking kids around, or I'm like, I don't know, jumping out and scaring kids. Like it was like a rite of passage to stop the little kid trick-or-treating. Like, so it was kind of, so I don't have any problem with older kids trick-or-treating. And I think in our house though, I think we try to balance that whole like age appropriate thing with the like, so pretty much to age 12, we basically say, hey, look, we're going to get your costume and we're going to help you figure out this Halloween thing till age 12. And then after age 12, you can go trick-or-treating if you want to, but you got to figure out your costume.
Okay, so lots of comments. So Felicia says our local college has a program called Precious Time where they get so many hours and working directly with us and providing respite for the family at the same time. Felicia, she also said the mentality of that is starting to change. People are starting to be more accepting of older children who are appropriate and have special needs or missing the experience. Janice says no, for us is all about developmental age or the experiences they need to feel normal. And Felicia says never. I am 32 and I am still going. I will go forever. I will be let down when my kids make mistakes. Yeah, so we've had fun, like, kind of over the years. The kids have done costumes, like, as a group, like, when they're littler. They did Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and, of course, Brittany, because we have our one lone girl. They've done, like, Smurfs and different things, and, like, as a family, we dressed up. Last year, Dalton was a Pokemon trainer, and Darren had Charmander onesie, and I had a Pikachu onesie, so we went as Pokemon, and he was our trainer.
Yeah, I don't know
but,
how.
Like, and the kids loved it. Like, the kids always remember. Jasmine was talking about the other day, just like recalling all these. Remember that year you went as this and you went as that, and.
But I think that's all. I think it's walking that fine line of making sure that our kids have age-appropriate experiences and still introducing play and fun to them, because they didn't always have play and fun, and they need to see that adults can still play, pretend, and have fun. And so I think it's walking that fine line of doing it age appropriately, and sometimes that might mean scaling it back because it might be too adult or it might be too kid. I know, and this, I know we talked about this last week, and this is not like we're not like people that do this stink, but like for us, we will never, like, we live in Orlando, Florida, right by Universal Studios, and we will never, I probably shouldn't say never, but we will more than likely, as long as we have kids at home, we will never go to Halloween Horror Nights, because I feel like there are some things that are happening there that are things that are pages that are ripped right out of our kids' past. And I don't have any desire to go there and subject them to something that got them put into care in the first place. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I would never go, because, I mean, I'm curious. Everyone talks about it all the time, but definitely while kids are at home. You know what's weird about doing these live events is after you get done talking, you're waiting for like the other people to like say something, but they're not there except digitally. Love you guys. So yeah. You have any other thoughts?
Yeah.
Whoa, look at all those emotions going up. That was great. There's like all these buttons of emotions going up. That's fantastic. So do you guys have any other tips or advice for how do you, like, with Halloween, how do you walk that line of this is age appropriate or you're just doing something fun as a family? What wins out? At least in your opinion, what wins out? I'm guessing Felicia wins out with the family bonding. I do. I'll be right back, you guys. Margie's gonna take it. She's got it.
You can probably make it.
No, I can't. Here, just set up. Okay. No. Once it gets to 12, it starts going down fast.
It's gonna take. Probably make it, but.
No. I think we got a new comment.
Felicia said fun wins out on Halloween. Yep.
It does. It does. It does. Oh, sorry, guys.
Four is coming. Computer is dying.
Computer is dying. YouTube is about ready to leave us. Not because we want you to.
Okay, thoughts, questions, because I'm out.
That's fantastic. Well, we probably do need to wrap it up here pretty soon anyways, just to, so everyone. It is your chair. Hi, chair. Hey, you guys. So whoa, there's a bad lag on Facebook because I'm just now sitting down and I've been sat for a while. Does anyone else have any more ideas on Halloween or how to survive? Because I think we're going to wrap things up. We are getting to that point in time where we need to be wrapping things up to honor your time. I'm trying to think. We have some really cool things that are happening coming. Oh, Allison says, keep expectations fluid. Oh, yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. So I totally agree with that. And I think what I'm guilty of a lot with doing things, whether we're going to the amusement park or we're going for a hike or we're just going to the store for fun, is I tend to put my expectations up here. And I realize Allison's probably talking about giving the kids expectations, but I think in my own head as a parent, I put my expectations up here. Like the other day, we're going to go, Dalton and I are going to go to the Disney outlet store and we're just going to have the time of our lives and it's going to be a blast. And we're going to,
and you go there and there's 5 million people and you can't move.
And we can't, well, they wouldn't even let us in the store. Like they had a line out the store and they would only let a few. So Dalton and I had to stand outside for a long time. And then we had to go to the bathroom, like both of us. And so then we had to come back and get in line. Expectations
and
shattered.
The sensory stuff
right.
was way too much for.
He didn't want us. By the time we got in there,
you can't shop when it's like that. You can't look around.
And Dalton's my dork buddy, because they got Star Wars stuff at the Disney outlet store, so he wants to get in and see Star Wars stuff. I don't so much, but he does, and so I want to see the other stuff. But my expectations got shattered, and I totally it totally ruined. If I would have let it, I guess it would have ruined the day for me. But if I put my expectations a little bit lower, I think just saying, I'm here with my son and whatever happens, that would have been good. But instead I had this whole thing that we were going to have this explosive, awesome time at the Disney outlet store and it just didn't happen. I'm glad I'm not alone. Janice says she does that too. I do that all the time. I know, I do that. I think that's one thing too. We'd really like to get a group of foster and adoptive parents together and bring people on vacation out to Universal Studios, because Margie and I are just, we've been there so many times and we've had so many great memories with our kids. And because I've had all those times of going to the park and putting up too high of expectations, I've gotten really good at not doing that now. And so I'd love to help other people just to have a good vacation.
And as a family, discussing what our expectations are and what's realistic and what's not and such.
Alicia says she has to stop herself in the moment because she realizes when I get let down, it brings down the morale. Mm-hmm. Allison says it's my own expectations that often cause the problem. And I think that's, isn't that a lot of times? We
start to get upset and then everybody just kind of starts escalating each other.
And we've got to be the anchor.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is we've got to be the ones that let water roll. What is it? Like water off a duck's back or whatever. What's the phrase? Oh, come on. You've never heard that. Someone help me out here. It's we have to let things roll off our back and just not be, but we can't do that all the time. So I think with Halloween and trick-or-treating, I think it's good to even just now just putting your mental cap on and being we're going to try something. And if it works, it works. If not, we're going to stay home and we're going to do plan B. We're going to watch Charlie Brown, The Great Pumpkin. Or we might just have dinner like we do every night and we'll be together and
make caramel apples
or we'll read a book together. There's so much that you could do together that if it happens, even if people have to go to bed early, we got to read a part of a book together. I don't know. there's set the bar low, right? And it sounds like everyone had some great ideas. So I hope everyone got to listen. If you haven't, scroll back through the comments on here because there's some great ideas of how to have a great Halloween. Allison says, yes, we have to be the grounding force for our kids, and followed up by Felicia saying, I always told the kids that if they become overwhelmed, then they need to say something so we can take a break or so that we can stop and go home. And I need to remember to be proud of them for being able to stand up and do that instead of be sad when they didn't complete an evening. And I think that's the hard part for me too, is even with that, is I should be so proud of my kids, they could even notice that in themselves. Because that's hard for them to notice and be self-aware.
Well, and it takes us a little bit of time. Like, I know we've made that mistake where we've seen a child like reaching their limit, and maybe the child doesn't know, like, hey, I'm on the verge of a meltdown, but we see it coming, and we kind of go, oh, just one more this or one more that, or let's do this. And then when the meltdown comes, it's like, you know, it's our fault for not following, like not pulling things back and going, it's okay, we've had fun, it's enough, you know. Because what happens is, if you get to that point where the meltdown happens, then you kind of leave with that bad memory. And so whether it's vacation or trick-or-treating or whatever, you kind of have, like, that's the last thing you remember is the meltdown, you know, and everybody kind of fall into pieces, and or the argument, or the, you know, that kind of thing. But if you can leave on a high note, it's that nice memory that everybody gets to kind of keep.
And the cool thing is that what I'm hearing is that a lot of people are chiming in saying that I do that, I do that. The cool part is that none of us are alone, and we all do that. And even with saying this, like, we're all going to go out of here going, I'm going to take it on, and I'm going to be like, put the bar low, and I'm going to, but I mean, if it happens, it happens. Like, and you mess up, and you're going to wake up tomorrow, and you're going to be at the next caregiver check-in, and we're all going to be proud of you, because we're all on the journey together, and we don't always do this right. And that's, I think, part of the beauty of doing all this is that, look, there's safety, and there's strength, and there's encouragement when we all come together as encouragers and honest and transparent. Where the danger comes in is when we try to be this perfect vessel and Superman or Superwoman, and we can never do that, and we suffer silently and by ourselves. That's where the danger is going to come in. But yeah, so we all mess up. Yep, I'm Darren. I mess up a lot. Just today.
And Allison says, always end an activity while the kids are happy.
Yes, that's a beautiful place to be. Hey, you guys, we need to end here. I would love for you guys to let us know. We can keep talking about Halloween. I would love for you guys to tell us different spins on Halloween that you want us to talk about on, so that we're not just rehashing trick-or-treating or sensory issues all the time, because we could do that a lot. Or should we talk about a completely different topic? We can do that next week too. This is your time every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for 1 hour for you caregivers or professionals or people concerned to get involved and just talk about these issues, and so we can all make a difference and help each other out. We do have some really cool things coming up in the final quarter of the year. We do have Transfiguring Adoption is going to be working with Funko Pop. If you don't know what Funko Pop is, it's a toy company, and they make some really cool things. Google them, look them up. They're going to be giving us some toy sets of Harry Potter, and we're going to be pairing those with our Harry Potter discussion guides, and we're going to be giving them out to some foster agencies that we partner with around the nation. Our discussion guide, there are samples of it on our website at transfiguringadoption.com. You can check that out. You can read The Sorcerer's Stone together with your kid, a chapter a day, and you have discussion questions that help you start healthy conversations, like we're starting healthy conversations here. The other thing that we have coming up is, starting in October, it is the Best Adoptive Parent Award. Yes, I said it weird. And it is the Chris Rankin Award. Chris Rankin is an actor. He played Percy Weasley in the Harry Potter movies. He is really passionate.
He's an adult adoptee.
Adult adoptee, very passionate about helping adoptive children and adoptive families. So we're naming this award after him, and he's going to be helping us out with some things. I can't.
Details are still kind of
details
being worked
are
out
still
on how
coming.
all that's going, but that's coming along the pipeline.
There may or may not be some other Potter celebrities getting involved. So definitely look out for that. And October 1st, nominations begin. So we are going to have on our social media and on our website ways that you can nominate the person that you think is the best adoptive parent in the world. Hey, Phil. So please check that out and nominate who you think should be the best adoptive parent. That's going to be starting in October. It'll be concluding at the end of November, because all during November, people are going to be able to vote for who they think is the best adoptive parent in the world. And you win this really cool plaque, like with your name engraved, inscribed on it, and some other things. Yeah, you get a prize package. Very, very cool. So we have those really cool things coming up. The other thing that I want to ask you guys to do to help us out is if you go onto our website, transfiguringadoption.com, if you look over on the right-hand side, down toward the bottom, it says, how are we doing? If you could please fill that out. It's a short survey, like 30 seconds, and it tells us how we're doing so that we can improve. But what it also does is if you can put any comments in there at all, what that does is if I can see, if you provide your zip code along with that, I can go to people, businesses in your area, and I can say, hey, we're having an impact in your area. Would you like to be a part of that? Or I can show other donors and with your comments and say, when they ask me, are you really helping anyone? I can say, well, if you will look here at what Allison from Knoxville, Tennessee says, she says, yes, we are helping people. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and we'd love for you to fill that out so that we can do bigger and better projects, because we want to serve you, because we are you. We are foster adoptive parents ourselves. So
real quick, anybody have ideas for next week? Is there anything that folks want to talk about? I know we've been focusing a lot this week on looking at different funding opportunities. So with that, we're coming up with new creative ideas. So hopefully we'll have some new projects coming up down the line here.
Like a book.
Yep.
Right.
Hey, Jen. So like a book, we've been having some ideas about things like success at school kits and maybe what would that entail. So be thinking about different kinds of things that you maybe would like to see, like sensory calm down kits or kits of tools to use at school.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. This has been an amazing conversation. We are going to be sticking with this time so people on the West Coast can be joining in with us. So if you have friends on the West Coast or more toward the West that are foster adoptive parents or concerned individuals, let them know that we're doing this. Thank you so much for talking with us. We hope that we are helping you to nurture and grow your foster adoptive families. Okay, Instagram.
Bye, Facebook.
See you later. Good night. Good night. All right. Twitter, good night. And YouTube, you folks are amazing. We will see you on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel or come join us on the website at transfiguringadoption.com.